Your views on the NSC all share and its trading today?
Yeah. It was a bearish market. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It was a bearish market. People are taking profit. Of course, it's approaching month end, and so we expect more of that, especially into next week. And then there's a lot of liquidity in the system. People taking all sorts of position, and then they would arbitrage and then get out quickly, if you know what I mean.
All right, just give us an update on the fixed income market.
Yeah, during this week there was an auction on bonds by the CBN. A total of about 80 billion was sold to the market. It was very competitive, that is, the demand was very, very high. The yields dropped from what it was last month. Of course, just like I said, there's so much liquidity in the system, and the people trying to diversify their portfolios did a lot of bonds. And then we expect more of that to continue as liquidity still persists in the system.
All right, liquidity has really been the operative word for the Nigerian market over the last month. In the last 2 weeks, as you're saying, the liquidity has improved within the market, whereas that wasn't necessarily the case 4 weeks ago. Just give us a breakdown of where all this money is coming from.
Yeah, federal allocations from the government to the states, that's the bulk of it. And then you have agri funds, you've got some other allocations that come in, like excess crude, and amongst the whole host of others. We've seen like a slight slump in that liquidity though, because weekly we have treasury bills issues, that's to curb inflation, and then monthly we have bonds issue. So we see that the CBN is trying to stimulate the economy, and then on the other side issue bonds and T-bills to balance it out.
All right, now given the sharp rise in liquidity, Bankole, what are the bond deals like now?
Yeah, bond yield dropped this month compared to last month, and then the market will of course take its cue from what happens in the auction. Just like I said on Wednesday, there's so much money, people trying to diversify their portfolios and take advantage. Of course, thinking that yields will be like it was last month. People really invested a lot this time. The yields were very competitive and then dropped, and then you're going to see some more of that next month if liquidity is still the way it is.
And then, of course, Bankole, the bond yields will be affected almost directly by the inflation situation in the country. Inflation in Nigeria is just slightly above 11%. What's the outlook then for bond yields for the rest of 2010?
We expect inflation has dropped from 12 to 11. I expect that to be stable. That is, funds will come in monthly as expected, but the CBN will, of course, try to regulate by issuing bonds and T-bills, and then we expect outflows from FX too. So yields would stabilize just as inflation will too.
Just in terms of the yield curve, Bankole, what can we anticipate in terms of the movements? Where will we see the most movement?
Well, I would expect more fluctuations. That is, people buy in, and then when the yields are just favorable, they arbitrage. It's not, I don't see people doing more of long-term holdings right now. You take your profit, just like it's happening in the equities market. So you invest, you know the right time to come in and come out. So I expect a lot of fluctuations. Yields will be slightly lower than the way they are right now.
And for any investor coming into the market needing to understand it a little bit better, we speak of inflation being just slightly above 11%, but it's an improved position from what we saw in the last quarter. What are the inflation expectations for the rest of 2010?
For the rest of the year, I expect it to be stable. The government will come in and try to issue bonds, more of T-bills. There will be FX outflows, and then I expect it to be more stable.